New day, new goals, let's own it. And in this episode of Leaders Create Leaders, we're going to be meeting up with Dr. Mona Van. She's one of the most sought after healthy lifestyle influencers in the game right now. She actually is the founder of a company called Hot and Healthy. And we're going to get into her whole story, how Mona, she grew up with a bi-coastal family that really pushed her to become a pharmacist. And when she became a pharmacist, and I'm talking about 6 years of college, and after going through it, you would think it would be such a huge accomplishment. After 6 years, she became that pharmacist, but then she realized on her first day of work that she absolutely hated it. So she ended up quitting her job, and she decided she wanted to step up and become a new type of pharmacist, but not the type that fills just prescriptions, but fills a prescription of a healthy lifestyle. So we're gonna get into the story of none other than Dr. Mona Van. So thank you so much for coming on the show, and I'm excited to learn about your story before, you became a star. Dr. Mona. I mean, you become one of the top influencers right now for females and males around health and beauty. Can you maybe first talk to me a little bit about your brand and your purpose and why, what really drives you every single day?
I guess it all started, I went to pharmacy school. Okay. So originally I was supposed to be a pharmacist. That was my, job and career. And then I moved. I remember I graduated. I remember thinking this is when my life is going to start. And I worked day one in a pharmacy, and I was like, I could not do this. I cried my first day of swear to God. I left and I called my brother and I was like, I can't do this my whole life. Because I remember thinking in college, you're working towards this thing. And there was always that, there's always a goal. Yeah. And then I graduated and I was like, this is it. This is what I'm going to do every single day. And I had this and then I didn't know what to do with that. So,
That's crazy. I feel like a lot of people go through that. I mean, there's a lot of stories that, that I've heard from people even on the show that they had this goal and they end up getting this what they thought would be this dream job, and then within that first week they're like what the heck am I doing?
There's something really scary about going into a job and being I'm never free again. I never, in college you have the summers off and you're kind of still this student, and I did that. I was in school till I was 24. It was 6 years. So I think I felt really trapped, and then I had hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loans. So I'm wow. What am I supposed to do? And I felt really trapped, and my parents are very, traditional Persian kind of this is great. You have a great education, a great job.
Did they have any careers within health and wellness, pharmaceutical?
In Persian culture, traditionally, you're doctor, lawyer, engineer. It's very common. So my dad's an engineer. My mom is a clinical analyst, so she works in a hospital. Okay. And I remember her saying, and this is not faulting her, but she was like, Mona, no one likes their job. This is when I was 18. She's like, so just do something that makes good money. That's what you do. And I was like, okay. And she's like, pharmacy is a great job for a woman. I was like, okay, that's true. No one really likes their job, so I might as well just get paid a good salary. Right. And that was my mentality. Then I was like, no way, this is not going to work for me. So I ended up thinking, okay, I need another job after that. So 1 year later, fast forward 1 year later, I found a job at an independent closed door pharmacy, which is almost like an office. Mm-hmm. No one walks in. We just get faxes from doctors, and so I could wear jeans. It was really chill, and I was like, okay, this is great. It's 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. This will be perfect for me. And then I was like, I'll get married and have kids, and that'll be. That's honestly what I was thinking. Yeah. Then I did that, and after a year or so, I was really unfulfilled there too, and that's when the wheels started turning. Where I was like, I have to do something else.
I think people in your industry that are peers that you look up to, and that you kind of said, okay, you know what? I could really step out of my comfort zone and become this expert, and I don't have to be a pharmacist. I don't have to live this lifestyle. Is there anyone that you aspired?
Actually, yeah. So when I first moved to LA, I also really I was very fascinated by the whole entertainment industry. I actually I wanted to go to school to do broadcast. Like I wanted to be on TV. And my mom was like, you are not majoring in like journalism or whatever because you won't get a job. So I couldn't. So when I got out here, it just so happens, one of the first few friends I made were like different models and like random like reality star celebrities. I happened to meet this one woman who was an anchor on KTLA. So we all spent New Year's Eve together, and she was like, you should be that expert that comes on. And that's like the original plant that I got, seed that got planted. Yeah, so I was like, okay, and I toyed around with that for like probably 2.5 years. Because sometimes you think about it, but you don't actually do anything.
Right.
And then I was like, okay, I need a website. So I asked a friend of mine who was like into websites, and she was like, you need to go see Marky Costello, who I didn't know at the time. So I found her. She's like the hosting guru in like LA. She teaches everyone like on camera and branding. And this is before branding was like such a common term.
Yeah.
So I paid like $500 for her boot camp, which was like a lot of money in that point. And like I went, and then I paid another $500 for a one-on-one sit down with her. And I was like, this is what I want to do. And she was like, okay, I love this. I love your brand. Sign up for my on-camera classes because you need to learn how to do YouTube videos and like whatever. And that's like how it all started.
Wow. And that's how like it all began.
That's how it all began. So maybe you've heard about food combining and it's something you really want to experiment with, but it seems way too overwhelming and confusing. If this sounds like you, then watch this video and I'm going to go over some really basic guidelines to help make this transition a little easier.
Building a brand is not easy. Talk to me about how that process since you started. So
I started with her. From the day that I like went to her boot camp and started it, I basically became obsessed and like and I was like, wow, this is something that excites me like every day, and like it's building something, like it's cool. So I started building it. Definitely like a lot of little bumps along the road. Like at first I made it into this like big thing, and I signed on with a production company actually that wanted to offer to pay me. And it was like in the beginning I was like, oh great, I'm gonna quit my job at the pharmacy and get paid this. You don't realize along the way that having control of what you're doing is really important, because as soon as you step out of what's not really authentic to you, it doesn't work. So I started filming these videos that were very corporate, which is exactly what I don't like. You know, they were like wanting me to wear certain things, wear a lab coat, which there's nothing wrong with a lab coat, but the whole point of my brand was that I wanted to be relatable. So I felt like I was just standing in CVS or Walgreens, like reading these videos, which isn't really what I wanted to do. So at first I started really great. That deterred me for about 8 months, which is like crazy to think about. Wow. And then I kind of started over, which I think a lot of people should know is it's not like this slow, steady thing. Like I was really good, and then I went back down, and now it's been like a slow build up, which is okay. Yeah. In the moment, you're like, oh my God, it's over. Like I have to start over, but it ends up being okay.
70% of Americans are on at least one prescription drug. More than half take 2 or more. So if you're tired of spending a fortune at the pharmacy, listen up, because pharmacist Mona Van is here to share some insider secrets. The whole idea is to save you cash. Mona, thanks for something we all want to do.
But it just goes to show that at the end of the day, you have the opportunity to invent who you want to become. Find what you're passionate about. Find what you love. Never let anyone or anything, label you. Figure out what it is that you want to do and just go and do it. What is like a healthy lifestyle to you? Like how do you live your life, and like what do you typically coach to your audience?
I've always been somewhat healthy, like Persian culture, like I'm not kidding, every night my mom would come into my room with like a plate of fruit. So I grew up with like those taste buds, but I still would eat like the chips and everything, and didn't, the sandwich meat with the cheese and turkey, and thinking like that was like a healthy meal. My last year of pharmacy school, I was on clinical rotations, so I had time to breathe. I wasn't studying so much. So my roommate and I were like, let's join a gym. And I was like athletic in high school, but never, So I started working out, and like I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just try to really like be healthy and see what happens, because I was always like in good shape but had like a little tummy, and I was like, oh, that's like just me? I was like, that's just my body. That's just whatever. It's normal. Like didn't think anything of it. So then I like started working out, eating healthy, and like started getting results, and became like obsessed in a good way, and it never left me. And then of course, a few months after I passed my boards and whatever, and I moved to LA, I'm like surrounded by it constantly. So then I was here and I was like living it, and that's also when I saw like bloggers kind of come up where I was like, well, why don't I give this advice from like a medical standpoint and give like a little twist to it. So Really, the thing I love about Southern California is healthy living is just such a thing.
Yeah.
It's from like the sun shining when you wake up to like you see people like in workout clothes all the time. Like hiking is like a social thing. Like Runyon Canyon is like, instead of like, let's go grab a drink, it's like, let's go on a hike.
Yeah.
And it's like a way to catch up with, even though it's a light workout, it's a way to like actually catch up with a friend and go out and do something. So it's everything from like the green tea and like the eating plant-based. I eat a plant-based diet, making sure you're drinking enough water, like subbing out little things. Like fast food's like not even in my brain, like agenda. Like I would never ever think to go through a drive-through. And I think that's what I try to teach people is like when you shift it, it's like crazy that you would ever eat that way before or live that way before, because it's just so not who you are anymore.
The more that I become conscious of what I'm putting in my body, I truly do feel better. Like I have more energy. I have a clearer mentality. I'm more focused. You know, I know you talk a lot about like even like your skin, which I didn't really think about, but like how much it really does play into like not having acne, not having those breakouts and things like that. But it's like, I gotta be honest, like I don't know what to look for. You know what I mean? Like I just try to be more health conscious and when I'm going out to a restaurant or when I'm like buying lunch and stuff. But like, so what do you know, how do you actually start to make the right decisions of what you're putting in your body?
Well, I feel like one thing you said was really interesting where like just making that decision makes you feel more conscious and better. Like it's almost when you really think of it, like you're being good to yourself and like respecting yourself and loving yourself, and like that all plays into it, because it's like eating well and exercising is really like a form of self-respect. And the way you treat yourself, do you ever notice people who are really health conscious and whatever, you almost like think they must think very highly of themselves because they obviously care.
Right.
Versus like the mentality of someone just not really caring, kind of being lazy on the couch with like the chicken wings and smoking. Like you have this kind of like, you know, do they really care?
Right.
So what I really started doing was just sharing like really easy practical tips on social media is like really where it all started. And I think that's where I've made the most difference, because so many people are like, you've changed my life, and and it's just little things. So I think knowledge is like the most important thing. When you don't know what to do, it's very, like I feel very flustered. Even like if there's something in business I don't know what to do, I just like won't do it because you get stressed out. But as soon as you understand and know it, then you can go forward.
Congratulations, because you took that jump. That's not easy, and I hope that like, you know, someone watching gets inspired that like you can do this. You know, like you can really truly figure out what you're passionate about, something that you do. Like this is like you live this lifestyle. You know, it's something that you like genuinely love and live. And now you're just going all in on sharing that with the world. You know, and doing what you love. So like I think that's so beautiful and amazing. So I'm really impressed. And you know, one of the hardest things is like after you take that jump, what we just talked about, which is like, how do you know that investment that you're making in yourself, putting out that brand, working on that social media, that it's gonna pay out and it's gonna be able to turn into a business. And you just mentioned mentors. So like, who's helped you figure this out, you know, and know that this investment is worth it, and how to actually turn this into a business?
Well, so Ryan Blair actually was one of the, I remember sitting down with him, it was like right before I even did anything, and I was like, I had a really bad day at work the day before, and we were friends, and I was like, I hate this job, I don't know what to do, and I was like, I want to do something different.
And this was when you were at a pharmacy still?
I was still at a pharmacy, I hadn't started the brand at all. And I was like, what should I do? And he was like, well, think of what would make you happy and whatever, and I was like, okay, well, do I start a PR company? Like, do I completely start something? And he was like, I'd highly recommend using your education and using that to your benefit. And I'm glad he told me that, because I did find a way to take something that I actually like learned and liked and spent a lot of time on. And the real truth is, something I skipped over, I was in a relationship before that. That was, you know, when you're in one of those where I had a very different mentality. I kind of just thought that, okay, like in all honesty, we'd get married, I probably wouldn't work as much. When I finally got out of it, I remember getting this life coach before that, and I was like, you know, what do I do? Like, and she's like, well, the problem is you're waiting for someone to come make your life interesting, and you're not even interested with your own life. And I was like, but I'm educated, and she's like, so what? That's boring to you, obviously, so figure something out. So it was a combo of her and Ryan where I was like, okay, let me come up with something. So then that's when I started the actual jump. After that, Russell Simmons has been a huge mentor. Now he's like one of my best friends. We met at a party, and he walked in wearing like a yoga shirt, And I was like, oh, I go to Hot 8 Yoga too. And that like sparked this conversation. And it's funny because he's like this hip hop mogul, yet he's this like health guru. So it's like the best like combination. It's very cool.
So look, you can read all the books you want, you can learn from your professors, you can even watch these videos, but at the end of the day, the best way for you to grow and learn is through mentorship. And we're gonna go meet up with none other than Russell Simmons, the entrepreneur himself, at one of his new businesses, Tantras.
Did you hear about how my course did this week?
No.
We sold just as much as last round, so.
Oh.
We beat our, well, we actually beat our last launch.
Well, that was the idea, right?
Well, yeah, but you think like.
Let me borrow some money.
It's all.
Let me borrow some money.
How much you need?
A lot.
I got your back.
A lot.
A lot.
There's a couple pictures need to be green lit.
Okay. No, but I mean, I don't know. I was just thinking of all those times you told me to just
stick with it.
Down,
of course.
Stay focused.
Yeah, but don't, you know, my friend just told me he got a green light in a movie. He works for me. He's the head of production. So I asked him about a movie that was not greenlit. He said, well, why do you go to that subject? Keep your head down.
I mean,
I don't really get, you know, you should practice the sameness, you know, of, you know, equanimity of mind. Like, you did good. But then if you're bad, if you do bad, are you sad? I mean,
I am. I try not to be because you don't care. Like something will go wrong with you and you just walk away like nothing happened.
Well, you should be the same. You should be happy all the time. Happiness is not a function of what they get you from the outside. You know that.
But do you ever like, does success make you happy though? That's
not even a little bit. Money doesn't make you happy. Happy makes you money.
That's true. You've said that before.
Yeah, operate from a good place and just be happy all the time. Just practice knowing the self. That's what all this is about. That's why we practice yoga. That's why we do all this work, so we can know the self. And the more we know the self, we know what happiness is. Happiness is a comfortable seat. There's nothing else they can give you but a comfortable seat. So remember that. Oh, I got new shit. New shit lasts a second. And in fact, the new shit that you count on costs you more suffering and less happiness. Any value on the stuff takes away your happiness. Something shocks you, like, wow, that's a second, that's presence. You want to expand those seconds. Just be happy on its own. There's nothing they can give you to make you happy.
Okay, so
that will cause more of the stuff to come too. The goddess Lakshmi, you're practicing in the room, Lakshmi. Lakshmi is a giver. She gives without expectation because she's not trading. You're busy trading as if they're going to give you something back. They won't. Happiness is a function of less noise in the mind. Sadness is a function of a noisy mind. From the work is happiness, not from the result. You have control over the work alone, but never its fruit. That's in the scripture, in the Bhagavad Gita. He says that, but he also talks, Krishna talks a lot about what that means. You have control over the work alone, but never its fruit. And they say that the happiness is in the work. The work is the prayer. The fruit is just continued. If you count on the fruit, you need more.
Okay.
It's like feeding a bottomless pit.
So he loved everything I was doing in health and wellness. And one thing he told me from the beginning was like the work is really what you should focus on. And one thing I would say to anyone who's trying to do this, the reason I kept going and never stopped is because I truly love it. And I remember saying to my mom, she'd even get stressed out. Like, I don't know why you do this. You know, it'd be so much easier if you just had a normal job. And I remember I was like frustrated and I was like, I will do this till the day I die if it never works. And like, what else would I be doing? Like watching TV? Like what else am I gonna do with my time? So if you really like it, it's just something that you wanna do and you're never gonna stop with. Like even if I didn't get paid for another 10 years, I would still do it.
So I hope you guys love the episode. Thank you for watching. Obviously, Dr. Mona is killing it. Definitely check out Hot and Healthy. But at the end of the day, step up. It's 2018. You know what I mean? Your health is your wealth. You need to care about how you feel. And this is an episode that should really incentivize you. Right now, I've just challenged myself to start small with a 7-day vegetarian diet. I'm also working out every single day, and I have never felt better. I have more energy, more clarity. I feel great. Now, I'm just saying, figure out the diet that works for you. Create balance in your life, meditate, Go work out. It's important. And if there's something that we also learned from Mona, it's at the end of the day, chase what you're passionate about. Never be afraid to reinvent or change the game. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. Just leveling it up. Anything's truly possible. Find that mentor. And thank you, Mona, for being on the show. If you guys want to see someone on Leaders Create Leaders, comment below. Let us know what you think about the episode. Subscribe, share this with your friends, and it's your boy GA. Peace.